high definition channels. So it's kind of like a media fight for those years, but still TVB got most of the audience outside.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways it's a good thing. It's a good sign that the ICAC, had the guts, were willing to make those arrests actually, because obviously, they knew it was going to be.
It's a huge impact.
It has an impact, doesn't it, on that industry and the way it's viewed and so on. And it's good in some ways that it happened. But on the other hand, I would say, why hasn't it happened sooner, actually? Why aren't there more incidences, actually? Because with the ICAC, you always read about in the newspaper, usually people, just single individuals, usually very low-ranking officials in government departments or, different industries taking a very small amount of money. Knowing what I know about Hong Kong and how, the level of corruption, almost legalized corruption, that goes on, why are these sort of more high profile, bigger arrests? Why does it only happen once every few years? You know what I mean? The ICAC, okay, it's good that it's happened, but there should be a lot more, I think.
I think I quite know about how we would be counting into corruption within TVB. They got internal guidelines that you cannot receive the gifts, the values over $500.
Actually, I think it's the same guidelines as most the government people.
Most of the government people, but about the contractors and how you're contracting your contracts to outsource.
Yeah.
Like, for example, this is the thing that some people would say that this is about the conflict of interest in terms of law, not in terms of corruption, because they say if your top management allowed you to do that, that is so-called the conflict of interest. You cannot explain why you give to your assistant, why you give the contract to your assistant. Then the ICAC have to prove that you really have the profit, the money, the dealing. They have to get the evidence, but nobody knows because it's still under investigation.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to wait and see quite how it plays out and so on. I mean, anything more you want to say about that, Simon?
Some rumors. I'm not sure this will have the against of because this case is still under investigations, but like some medias, okay, they reported that, or some rumors said this is a internal like a how I put this, it's a they report to ICAC from internal people.
Right. So yeah, I mean that's right. There must have been a tip-off.
Right.
And so that gets political, doesn't it? Within it gets political within TVB, doesn't it?
You know what? Maybe some people they do not like. They don't like what Stephen Chen's doing. One of a tip, okay, not a tip, but like a sign, is when I think it's 2 months ago when they like the boss of the TVB, they're going to inspect the new land of in Tseung Kwan O, right? In Tseung Kwan O, which will be the future, maybe a studios or something like that of TVB. Okay, Stephen Chen always beside those more high-ranking people, but from that moment, he wasn't there.
He was disappeared. It works like communists. I tell you, everything is like that. Yeah, within that, and we have got the jokes. And within TVB, we say got 3,000 employees over there, and 1,000 are good workers, and 1,000 are lazy workers, and 1,000 people are stopping the good workers, the good workers to be good people. That's the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me that the guy, Stephen Chan, he could be screwed. Actually, he could be in big trouble. Actually, couldn't he? I mean, mainly because the TVB, what he was doing, TVB, the powers that be weren't fully aware of what he was doing. I mean, if he had their permission to do what he was doing, he would probably get off, I think. But it was the fact that the powers that be within TVB weren't aware of exactly what was going on in terms of the deal he was making and so on with his assistant and so on. But we'll have to see quite how it plays out, I think. But in terms of power, in terms of making an arrest like that, what do you guys think? I mean, do you think the chief executive and would have been consulted before that in terms of whether to make an arrest or not? And other cases of there's corruption going on, it makes you think, okay, there must be other corruption going on, but do you think sometimes in Hong Kong they're dealt with under the table? Do you sort of mean? Where in some ways the government might say, we don't want a big story. It looks bad for Hong Kong that there's corruption going on at a high level and stuff. But it makes you think, exactly, whether or not. But obviously, for this, this situation, obviously the guy. Had enemies. He must have done, mustn't he? Pretty high level enemies. I think you're probably right within at TVB, but maybe within the government as well. Actually,
yeah.
And let's face it. If an incident like this happened in the Western world, some people would be saying, okay, is it because he's gay, for example? And there'd be, I don't know if there's been any discussion in the Chinese media, but some people would definitely say that with a high-profile gay figure, that there might be some element of prejudice to do with that as well. That they're out to get him, and not saying whether or not what he, whether he did it or not, but the fact that he is gay might have an impact on whether people.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I don't think about this case.
I don't think. I don't. Gay is a very play an important role in this case. What pretty much is. I think some insiders inside TVB do not like what Stephen Chan is doing.
I think they lost their profit and interest.
Well, maybe too high profile. Some people don't like it.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, we've run out of time, so we're going for part 2, and we've got other things we've got to discuss.
Yeah.